Oh, we are going live. Here comes the music. Yes. Welcome, everybody. As you know, I have no idea how to do any of this, and we are missing Ray so badly. I am not my own producer. I am the boobs. I'm the boobs. I am the boobs. So, welcome to the A Show. I am your host with the most, April Hunter, and I'm happy to have you guys all here with me tonight. So, we are going to have one hell of a show for you. We were originally going to do a show that was just about saving money because we got some amazing money saving tips, over 100 comments when I put the call out and ask people, what are your unconventional money saving tips? But last minute, I was graced with the presence of Hunter Kyle.
Hello.
Welcome. So Hunter is an infantryman at the 10th Mountain Division. He was a scout sniper for the HHC 222 Infantry Battalion. He is a ballistics expert and a weapons manufacturer. Well, actually, you can do this better than me. Tell me a little bit about yourself, because you have a hell of a resume.
So yes, some time in the military, a lot of time in also civilian sector. So first we started out actually shooting things, doing precision shooting, obeying, getting up in the morning really early and walking really far. I don't know why they always wanted to walk really far. We had vehicles. After I left that, I wanted to continue on in that particular protection aspect. I went up with Dyneema, which is a Dutch company that does body armor and vehicular armor. So we started there as a range technician and moved up to actually engineer. And we're producing body armor and vehicular armor for the past 20-year wars that were going on, trying to bring guys home in one piece. We also do some light manufacturing of precision firearms and some custom pistols, a lot of laser work, although we have transitioned lately into more of the golf aspect. So a little less
That's
violent.
awesome.
Not as much, but a little less violent.
So I thought having you on would be perfect because, like I said, you were a weapons manufacturer. You did custom firearms. You were a sniper.
Yes.
So you were a ballistics technician. You're a range operator.
Yes,
so
absolutely
you worked for Dyneema LLC, body and vehicular armor designed for all NATO alliance members.
Yes.
So you know more than the average person about things out there.
I understand the bullet going out, and I understand it coming in, no matter whether you're trying to stop it or send it. That has been a passion since I was a child. That and flight. So,
and you started in the Army, yes?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So we all experienced
an exciting weekend.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. We all experienced an exciting weekend, and there's been a very strange energy ever since. And we're not really, that one of the things that drives me nuts is in this country, and I don't know if this is global or not, but in this country, we're not really allowed to have information. So due to that, it forces us to search elsewhere. And when you're searching elsewhere, you are then being called a conspiracy theorist, or, God forbid you do your own research. So, unfortunately, the idea of being transparent is really not a thing when it comes to our government and our medical system and our everything. So we are now in a position once again where we're not being given the whole story, all the information.
Questioning authority. Questioning authority.
Yes, and as it drives me nuts. So you have a lot of people out there that are now putting the conspiracy together, and I thought it would be interesting to have somebody who actually knows about these things, yourself, come on and give a perspective to our viewers, all of whom, hey, welcome, thank you for being here, all of whom are also probably wondering what's going on, and they're reading information, they're reading misinformation, they're seeing things and they're wondering. And, from your perspective, what's, and we're free speech podcast. So don't worry about coming off a little bit. We run our conspiracy theories. We just throw the word alleged in front of them. So it's okay.
I'm going to have to go get like a stronger tin hat.
Yeah, I have several and different. I have like a sun hat.
I'm trying to remain level-headed. I understand everybody understands physics. We understand politics. We understand, gravity, since Newton decided to show us what the apple could do.
Mm-hmm.
However, that all being said, I think all of us are questioning how someone was allowed to get within that particular range with that particular rifle. Someone who was completely untrained. They said he had some shooting school or shooting classes in school, like a rifle club. But even that, and I have hearsay coming back through multiple news agencies, and my trust for any of the news agencies right now is fairly low. I would go with my ex-wife's lawyer selling me something before I would with any of the news agencies. So, that being said,
that's why we do this.
I don't believe someone should have been able to get within that range, and I'm not the only one. When you listen to, there's plenty of other people out there way more experienced than I am. They have a lot more time in the field. They're saying the same things. It's amazing how quickly it came out that everyone's going like, how did this happen? How did somebody get within 200 yards with an off-the-shelf rifle? So
yeah, tell us about that. How do you think that could happen?
Without two things. It's either
like, how does that work realistically?
Again, tinfoil hat is, there was help. No tinfoil hat. The level of incompetence that is going on out there is at a point of idiocracy. We're actually in the middle of the movie now.
Well, Idiocracy was a documentary, don't you know that?
Yes. So we're either at a point where we can have no faith in any of our abilities to protect, abilities to continue on, crisis management. And this is a small isolated area where you talk about, one individual, obviously a very important target, the primary, with being Trump, but they couldn't even manage this. So that kind of weather forecast for so much more that has been going on for 3 years, which is quite scary.
Yeah.
As far as someone getting that close is the biggest question that everyone seems to have is how did he get that close with a ladder and a long gun? So, and the rifle that he had, from the reports that are coming out, again, media agencies, it's a DPMS AR-15. So a little bit older rifle if it was DPMS branded, where it wasn't before they were bought by Palmetto State Armory. These are decent rifles. These are pretty decent rifles out of the box, kind of your upper mid-grade, where you're going into like Daniel Defense being one end of the spectrum, or Accuracy International, and then a couple other name brands I won't mention because I don't want them coming back at me with hate, but we all know who you are. And if it's only $300, hey, you got what you paid for, but it works. So that being said, he shouldn't have been able to get into that range with a long gun and a 12-foot ladder.
Mm-hmm.
What are the thoughts that are coming back? What is the feedback that you're getting on this from just average Joe on the street, regardless of what their political
I have so many questions. So, all right. So here, I'm just going to rattle some off.
Okay.
First off, well, you know that, I mean, the average person, I'm the average person, right? So you probably know this better than I do. All high points are covered with something like this. They're covered.
All line of sight. Yeah.
Yeah. All high points are covered. So it leads me to think that it should have been covered. Somebody was hired to do that and they just didn't show up. The way he snuck on, and this is just a conspiracy theory, which we love. But it leads me to think that somebody didn't show up and they gave this kid the A-OK, this is where you go. And he just went right into that because he seemed to slip right into that effortlessly. He knew exactly where he was going. There was no hesitation. It was already planned. And if that's the case, he wasn't working alone. Where were his weapons stashed? I'm going to rattle some things off. Where were his weapons stashed?
It sounds
Where'd he get the money for all this?
With. Right. So it sounds as if he had been seen prior several times. Again, these are multiple reports are coming in, but you would have thought local law enforcement, which they were let known. I guess they'd been kind of tracking this guy in the field for a while. Local law enforcement I don't have the timeline in front of me. We watched multiple things on different broadcasts on how this thing actually broke down.
Mhm.
This kid was seen. So what
Yet
was
he
wrong
had
with
no
the
social
reaction
media
time?
footprint at all. Nothing.
That's another one. As I said, I'm going to need a bigger
Nothing.
tin hat or maybe even a
Yeah.
lead helmet at this
Not
point. This
what
day and
kid
age,
has no social media footprint? And then they put out that he had donated something like or paid like $1,500 to an OnlyFans girl. Like, how do you know that? Why are you putting just that out? Why are you throwing that nugget to the public? But I mean, give me a break. How are we supposed to really believe that there's no social media, no public footprint? Google saves
no.
everything.
And a lot of this too falls down to, and I hate to be that guy, but it's just basic. It falls down to parenting too. So in the home as to what's happening. So even if this kid was approached, why was there no safety net at home to be like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? So not to bring that up, but everybody needs to understand that these things don't just boil into place, on the spot. This takes preparation. If we're talking lone wolf, lone gunman, he had nobody that knew what he was going to do, something of this particular magnitude. Now
Hmm.
you're talking about people approaching him, and kind of coaxing him or helping or guiding, regardless of what entity that might be, whether it be a shadow government, whether it be a private entity, that's just, again, politically driven, whether it just be a group of people that have nothing but hate. It just doesn't make sense that this was able to be completed in the way that it was without more alarms going off and something, stopping this
Hmm.
beforehand, before it actually blossomed into what it was.
Yeah, Ben Robb said plus authorities had stopped him and let him go while he was carrying a rangefinder sniper binocular at the rally. So here's a question for you. How far the gun that he had, the AR, how far does that shoot? We talked about this pre you coming on here.
I'm about to make a
So,
bunch of Marines smile. So when the Army's trained with this rifle, we push it out to 300 meters for human targets or a single target, silhouette type target. We can push it out to 800 meters for what's called area targets. So you're talking about groups of people, vehicles, buildings, things like that. The spread starts to open up. Marines push it a lot further. So way to go, guys. That being said, though, anyone
embrace
who's
the
handled
suck.
anyone who's handled an AR-15, whether they're a dedicated Marine or a United States soldier who happens to have an IQ above a room temperature, knows what the rifle is capable of. So anything between 300 yards and in is completely feasible shot for anybody with minimal training. It doesn't take much. The rifles are actually that well designed. Eugene's owner knew what he was doing. Other than direct impingement, we'll do that for another show.
Mhm.
But that being said, he within 300 yards, there should have been nobody that had line of sight to the primary target. That I can't understand how that was ever let to happen in begin with. When you talk about anyone that's actually done any sniper work, when they're actually talking about real ranges, this what he was doing is really considered rifleman. Okay, this is not, everybody says sniper. Riflemen should be able to handle that rifle out to 400 or 500 yards, depending on what they're hitting, and be fairly accurate.
Mhm.
What he was within is not even practice range. I mean, guys, we go to the range and that's our mess around distance. That's our screw up stuff before
Mhm.
we actually push out and start zeroing in. So
Yeah,
that's
that's what
actually,
Ben Robb said. He should have hit Trump with just iron sights.
yes, that's the thing. We've made goofing around pistol shots at 300 yards with little 5.7 pistols. Now, granted,
Mhm.
no energy at that point, but what I'm getting at is a pistol is capable of putting a round on target at that range. Who would let a rifle get within this of a presidential candidate? So,
And Ahmed says, how did the kid take his time and lay down preparing his rifle in the closest place and no one saw him? No one even saw him. Not to
agree.
mention, he's 8 shots were taken.
It sounds
So,
like the first one was kind of rushed. That it does everything again from the media that's coming up. There was a police officer, local law enforcement, that climbed up a ladder,
mhm.
faced him, and this kid turned the weapon towards him, and the guy went back down the ladder. Then he turned and started shooting. That was at 6:11. And again, these are all what we're getting. So being able to turn around and make the first shot, it was actually, and again, it was by grace of God that Trump turned his head. If you watch these videos, that was just luck, because that round should have gone through, and it should have been a much worse Saturday evening. That being said, once he fired the first shot, the rest of them were all just follow up. You could tell it was panic shooting where he was just pulling the trigger. This was not going to hit the primary. Trump was already on his way down after he had realized what happened, and the Secret Service were grabbing him, starting to nestle in, which is exactly what they're supposed to do anyway. And then the situation with the Secret Service that was on the sloped roof, by the way, shooting back into his direction. So again, not many people go to sniper school. You see a lot of things on TV. It's not as glorious as everybody thinks it is. It's a lot of laying around for long periods of time, being very hungry, possibly urinating into a tiny little hole beside you because you can't stand up and things like that. It's eating chow, laying down. It's bugs crawling over you. It's hiding really, really well. The shooting
What do you do? Wait, what do you do if you have to poop?
Well, we'll go into it on another show, and I'll show you how to do that. That's actually much better if it's just demonstrated.
Okay. I just wonder, because I always thought about that with people doing stakeouts and snipers waiting. It just seems like a very
they live in these
thankless, difficult, long. What about leg cramps? What about cramping up?
Awful. Your hips hurt. Wherever you have bone-to-bone contact on any solid surface, you'd be surprised.
Aren't you just laying there forever?
Yep. So there's all kinds of nightmare scenarios I can walk through. However, let's stay on point with this particular issue. One of your gentlemen was asking, how did he have time to get up into position, crawl in, and actually get the rifle set up? They had people on the ground, civilians, yelling for law enforcement, like they're watching this dude do this the whole time.
Yeah.
From what I understand, law enforcement was down inside the building. They chose to be inside the air-conditioned building versus be up top where they were supposed to be. The position he was crawling into, according to these news reports, was the sniper position for local SWAT, law enforcement, to be there kind of scanning the crowd, whether or not it was going to be a tactical rifle. However, that being said, when you look at the Secret Service snipers, when they shoot back, one of the things that you really don't do is you don't pull your head up off the scope. Your spotter is supposed to be telling you everything he's seeing out there and reading that information to you. You're doing all these calculations in your head, but you're not ever leaving the crosshairs because you're waiting for that moment. It could be your heart rate. It could be the flags drop with the wind, whatever. Your finger's on that trigger and you're waiting for that perfect synchrony moment to send it. In that moment, what we all watched, which made me kind of do a double check, was the actual Secret Service sniper came up off his rifle and looked and almost was like, what's going on? Meaning now, all these days afterwards, when we have much more information, instead of looking at it and be like, what are you doing? We get it now where he's looking back at this kid and he's going, is this going to be friendly fire? Is that a law enforcement sniper that's on that? Am I shooting somebody? And then the kid took the shot. He realized it was a threat. All hell ensued, and we went from there. So I'm not as mad at the actual shooters on the roof that I was when all this started happening. Be like, dude, pull the shot. Why didn't you do it? Now I'm starting to understand the confusion that was going on. You don't want to put a round through another law enforcement officer's head. Nobody wants friendly fire. And I believe that was a split second that was going on with the Secret Service sniper returning fire. I haven't had anything. I don't believe they've done any interviews with him. This is obviously still a very active investigation. But looking at it, that's what I derived.
So you think that's why the sniper, the Secret Service was made to wait to confirm?
I think it was a shooter's decision. I don't think it was a call from anywhere else in the building saying do something. I think he was on the gun. He knew his particular mission specs. He was trying to make sure that he was going to be able to sleep that night, making a clean shot to a true target and not having a horrible accident that would live in infamy for him for the rest of his life. And that split second of coming up and verifying that's not one of ours, and then he engages and the rest goes down.
That's what I guess too. Especially, I'm just I'm just going to call it like it is, especially being a white man shooting. You have to make sure you see somebody armed. There's been so much flack on that and so much blowback.
Anytime you're
with law enforcement, you can't. So Um,
And that's almost and again, this is not meant, that's almost an American way of looking at it because we've been so trained with all the problems we've had in law enforcement and unrest in the United States. When you talk about it from a military point of view or just a shooter's point of view, none of us, nobody ever wants to hit anybody. That you really don't. Anybody who tells you otherwise, I'm going to call their bluff. Nobody wants to put another human down. That being said, you definitely, when you get into that level of the game, you want to make sure you're hitting the right humans. Whether you're here, whether you're in Afghanistan and it's a kid across the street next to a bomber, you want to make sure you're hitting exactly what you're supposed to, because that lives with you for the rest of your life. I believe that's what was happening to that particular shooter at that moment. So I don't, when everybody goes into like patsies or, what were they given the time for? He was supposed to shoot the president, then they were going to take him out, because that's all over right now, is they were supposed to allow him to shoot and then take out the witness like a patsy. I'm not on that just yet. I'm not at that level. I honestly believe the guy on the roof didn't know what was going on and was reacting as best he could.
okay.
So I wasn't there though. And
Yeah, none of us were. That's why,
no.
we have to rely on best guests and people who
Well,
are
Wednesday,
more
I'm a
experienced than we are.
Wednesday morning quarterback. So
Wade Williams says, does your guest believe that the rifle was brought in that day or left in advance?
I believe it was brought in that day, because there is talk again that he was carrying a long gun. They had seen this, so I don't know if it was in his vehicle. I have to have more of this come in, but that particular rifle does break into two. So there are these two pins. You can pop them right out. They go to, and you can put this into a smaller, less visual bag if you're trying to transport it.
Okay.
Whether or not he was transporting it that way or transporting it as one unit, I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that.
Okay. And Winona said, personally, she believes that the Secret Service had an agreed upon signal not to take the guy out until they saw Trump go down.
I don't disagree. I will leave my mind open because there's too much going on. And I've had arguments with people over multiple situations. When you talk about Zapruder, you talk about Kennedy, you talk about 9/11, everything that's affected our country, our world, that has been of a magnitude of this, of such, you have to be able to look at it and be like, I'm not 100% right. Years later, things come out and you go, oh, well, now it makes sense. These little pieces fall in. So
Yep.
the only thing I can say I've gained with age is patience to go, I have not made up my mind yet, but I believe Winona is on a good track. I do believe there is more to this, but I don't have my tinfoil hat on, and I don't want Hillary Clinton stopping by the house tonight.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
So
I personally don't think we would be where we are right now had the Patriot Act not gone through, and we needed 9/11 to get that Patriot Act through.
Well,
If
and
you
here
look
I
at the
am
series
too.
of laws that have gone through.
And as somebody who has worn the uniform, served the country, walked under the flag, I was for all of that. You talk about the difference in my age and ability back then to understand just how dangerous it is to wash away right. So we're in dangerous waters right now. The first thing they're going to look at, again, I'm a huge pro Second Amendment guy. So we don't even need to have that discussion because my way of life obviously dictated. That being said, there is a certain responsibility that comes along with this, from everything from parents to neighbors, anybody who's going to handle one of these people, because you can't call the bullet back. Not these horrible deeds that are going on, but just the fact that the gun is part of American culture as much as the cars are. Our military industrial complex is. This is part of what this country is, whether we like it or not. But the first thing they're going to try and do, and I actually. We've already seen it on the Biden side, is we need to stop these rifles. This is the argument we fall into every time, where it's, why didn't the Secret Service do their job better? Why wasn't there a better perimeter? Their job is not to go out and police 330 million Americans who has guns, who has ill intent, who can make bombs, who can do this. Their job is to protect their asset, and they didn't do that. So don't turn it into, we need to go after all the firearms. That's not the situation here. We do need to have a better look at, and I do believe this, these kids that are, when something like this happens, we do need to go back and look at their history and start seeing and putting together, where did things go wrong to cause this level of violence, whether it be an attempt on a presidential candidate, whether it be a school shooting. We need to analyze this a lot more, because these shooters are getting younger and younger. You and I see a lot of this in our age brackets, where we're Gen Xers. I'm the back end of Gen X. You're in about the middle of Gen X.
Shh.
This has all been.
I'm an XLL.
This has
shut the
been
fuck
a
up.
way of
Shut the fuck
life
up. Shut the fuck up.
that has
Shut the fuck
blossomed
up.
with us.
You don't know me.
But when you start to look back, something like the Kennedy shot, look at how that stopped America. They rolled televisions into classrooms for kids to understand the level of what was happening.
Yep.
Here you have this happen on a Saturday, and they're writing off like Trump stumbled and the Secret Service knocked him over. There were loud pops.
Yeah.
Do you see where we've come as a society, where it's like, okay, if it's not orchestrated, then we are talking about absolute incompetence at a level of idiocracy about mid-movie. Start pouring Gatorade on the plants. Plants love Gatorade.
Yeah, let me break out my Crocs. Oh wait, we do wear those.
I haven't gone that far yet.
Yeah, Ben Robb goes, April was there when Amazon just sold books. That
the day I wear Crocs is the day I listen to Nirvana's last song. What's this shotgun taste like?
Buy your Brondo. Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy time. So it's yeah.
I will leave
we
your
used
guess
to
with
talk about things too. We all used to talk about. We were able to have these conversations, and it's denigrated. It's very much broken my heart to see
we used
people
to be able to offend each other without hurting each other. There was a difference.
Offend each other and laugh.
Yes. We've lost movies, we've lost comedy, entertainment, and it needs to come back. It really is. We've become so thin-skinned, it's scary. And the problem is, it's breeding violence. It's breeding, like, your words made me want to hurt you. Okay, that's not how this works. Now we're escalating.
So you and I went to school. We actually took guns to school.
Yeah, we have them in the.
We had the kids.
You went hunting in the fall.
You went, you took the gun racks were on the back of the pickup trucks. We had live ROTC.
Yep.
And we had people had guns in their cars, and Eva's saying me too. So in our just what, not even a full generation ago or whatever.
No, not even.
Just whatever years ago, we took guns to school, and there was never a shooting.
And the guns have always been here.
Yeah, they've always. So here's the thing: it's not the guns. That's why I keep saying it's not the guns. We took them to school and never had an issue. It's not the fucking guns. Okay, it's a societal issue. It is the mental issues. It's the medication. I can guarantee you, just wait. This is theory, but I guarantee you that this kid was on something neurological, something, whether it's bipolar medication or Ritalin or Prozac or SSRI, something. He was on something. Because that's the common link with all the shooters. They're all on like the SSRIs.
And if you go back, there is a thing, and thank you, Alex Jones. There's Project Orion for your clients to look up. It just don't go diving down the rabbit hole too far. However, something that April just grabbed on was these shootings are going up in violence. They're going up in
and they're censoring the violence down too. So we're having less violence, but we're still having more violence.
Yeah, they're not fixing the problem. However, if you read some of these white papers from a long time ago, before school shootings even existed, there were plans to bring this in. SSRIs, different mood altering drugs were part of it. Violent video games, movies, things like that to desensitize. And that's all in this paperwork. And it makes you go, why were you writing about this in the 50s and 60s? And here we are in 2024, and we're seeing this almost come to fruition. So it does make you have to go like, wait a minute, what's happening? You put the frog in the water and you turn the water on and boil it slowly. You don't throw it in there. It'll bounce right out. We're not bouncing out. We're just standing there watching it.
And the water's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. But that's climate change.
if you did the same thing, and this is a for instance, if the same thing happened back when JFK was driving down it and someone saw the sniper in the window, back then, someone would run up there and just cold cocked him, would have charged him. These
People
people are
would have
down
taken
there,
him down.
they're with their phones the whole time going, there he
Yeah.
is, and they're trying to get help. Mind you,
Yeah.
hey, good for you. They're shouting. They are leaving it to law enforcement, but the level of danger that it was, someone would have at least been like, get up there, stop him, something.
Oh yeah.
Draw
Oh,
his
yeah.
fire, make him shoot at us so that people something. And you look at this again, Wednesday cat quarterback, I was not there. When this is all going on, it's probably extremely surreal. This is not a combat situation. This is not something where you're ready for this to go on. You're there just to listen to a speech and watch some fireworks and wear some red, white, and blue stuff. You start seeing this happen, and you've got to let your brain kind of get into gear. Go, well, that doesn't look right, and then you start doing something. I just feel as though we have become as a society so reluctant to either get involved or just stick our cameras up.
Lawsuits. That's why, you had all those
Yes.
things. And there's a couple comments here. I'll rattle them off real quick. One is Steve said the biggest mistake Trump made post attempt is not calling the family of the firefighter who was killed. Biden did do that. I believe it's probably because he was shot in the head. So Trump was shot in the head. So he's probably trying to adjust to these things. I mean, yeah, I do believe he should have called, but
I agree with him only because this is one of your followers came out to see you, and now he's not going home.
Yeah.
So I do believe the gentleman's name was Corey. It's according to this, the minute all this started happening, he literally dove in front of his wife and kids and took the round.
Yeah.
So I have nothing but respect. I'm actually getting goosebumps talking about this because you don't expect to go to something like this and not come home.
Yeah.
I don't know why Trump didn't call. I can tell you that. Can you imagine the level of trauma that he just went through?
That's why I just said it's probably kind of planned on it, but didn't.
He may call later, and I wouldn't put it past this guy to do something special for the family because that's what this guy does.
He did. He authorized a fundraiser where they raised some ridiculous amount of money for him.
And this is my old age coming in. We watched him on Saturday come out to the RNC. Melania was there. All the kids were there. And my wife said to me, wow, Melania's not there. I go, can you imagine what that woman's going through right now? She just watched her husband miss having his medulla oblongata spread all over the crowd behind him by that much. How many attempts that we don't know about? How many that we don't? I can't imagine being married to him or being his son because your constant fear for someone you love is worse than the constant fear of your own life. You go out there like, bring it. I'll give you my address. When it's your son, when it's your husband, your wife, your child, I can't imagine what they're going through. So
I can't either. And Wade brings up a valid point. He says, how do we know that's the truth? Are we going to believe the Biden propaganda? How do we know he didn't call him?
We don't. We're not there. Again, that's my thing is this is all going on. I'm trying to put it together just like anybody else. That's it. I'm trying to sit back and anybody says to me, like, Wade, like your clients or your customers or show people writing in. I don't know your crowd. How do we address these humans on the other end of this camera? Is it your audience? All right, we're going back to that.
You can find the comments. There's comments over there.
All right, I don't see the comments, but they're being read to me. But these are really good points. These are very good points, and these are things that some of them are things I didn't think about. And that's again back to your key point of. We need to start having discussions again. Right, left, black, white, tall, short, rich, fat. Wait a minute. Do rich people hate fat people? I think they do. Ozembic. Anyway.
It used to be you had to be fat or you had to be rich to be fat.
True. That was those days are gone. Trust me. I tried that. No one looks at me as a status symbol.
Only rich people were allowed to be fat.
But coming back to the point at hand, I don't know what to believe anymore. Is really it. I don't know what to believe from either camp because we are embroiled in a very political battle leading up to November. And it's while I lean right, I'm firearms, I'm prior military, the whole 9 yards. I have a lot of independent belief structure. But again, it pushes me to the right side. But even I have got to stand back and look and go like, okay, guys, like they're saying right now, tone down the rhetoric. Let's find out what's going on. Let's move forward, not hit each other, move sideways. So
Agree.
I'm learning as well.
I've, it's no real secret. I've never voted for Trump, and I find all of this kind of horrific,
Oh
like
wait,
that
I
this
do see
happened.
a Winona.
Yeah,
Everyone's
and
opinion on the shooter theory.
yeah, and I think it's terrible that people actually celebrated what happened, and I think it really really bothered me to see that. It really
It,
bothered me to see that.
it is, and here's where I'm gonna. I may even make a few enemies with this, but bear with me. What we're doing right now, and I'm watching it on Instagram, libs of TikTok. They're really going after these people, and they're canceling them.
I saw it.
They're
Yeah,
getting a lot of their own medicine. And let me say
yeah,
this real quick, guys. That's not how we're going to solve this. Okay, I don't like it either. I served under that flag so that when I came home, if someone wanted to go into a park and burn it, they could. I don't want to watch it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to turn around and walk back. I'm not going to go attack that guy and take
no,
his flag. Again, we're not in combat, and I'm going to get arrested for stealing someone else's flag. We know how this all works. I don't agree with what they're saying. I think it's awful. I'm sure if the roles were reversed and this had happened to Biden, there would be just as many things coming out of the right side. It's a reactionary thing. It's
yeah,
cold. We don't need to
yeah,
be doing that. So I will say to anyone on the left that is watching the show, um, don't let your emotions write things that are going to damage your future. That's all there
oh
is
my
to it.
gosh, I can't imagine some of the videos that are out there. I can't imagine
No,
those living on in infamy, and then you trying to get a job 10 years
no,
from now, and
yeah,
people are like, "Oh, you're that person." Do not do that. So yeah, I just had this. Elon Musk put something up that a lot of the people on the right were requesting that people's accounts be canceled for hate speech, and he said we're not doing that. And I chimed in. I said, please do not do that. Do not cancel people's accounts for hate speech, because I don't believe in hate speech. I don't think it exists.
no. There's
I
just
believe
speech.
it's
There's
yeah.
rough words, but there's no.
There's hateful
So
people, but it's just free
yes,
speech you don't like to hear.
yeah, it does not become hate speech until you start throwing punches while you're saying the words. That's hate speech. But
Exactly.
if you're
Exactly.
hanging somebody from a tree while saying something, hate speech, and you should
Well,
go to
yeah.
the darkest depth of prison. That's different. What we're having here is a long time ago it was said, just because you can doesn't mean you should, and that's the
Yeah.
best way to look at it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at right now. So that's where I'm going to leave it with that. When Trump has a way of touching emotions in people, and boy, he hits these chords really, really well. We're aware of who this guy is. He is a love him or hate him guy, and that's all there is to it. Is he perfect? No. Is he truly the savior? No. What we're talking about is a human who has polarized our entire country. He has definitely isolated an entire group of people that truly hate him. And that's fine. You're allowed to hate. You're allowed to hate. You're allowed to be like, I don't like that church. I don't like those people. I don't like this food. I don't want to go here. Fine.
I don't like peanut butter.
When you start putting it out into the internet, and that's where these negative things are coming back. And this is just one part of it. For years now, Trump has been Hitler. He has been Super Hitler. He has been the Antichrist when Super
Yeah.
Hitler wasn't good enough.
What, white, whatever it's called, the KKK,
It just
that thing.
continues. Yeah, exactly.
Raped
How do you,
babies or something, and killed women, or killed women, raped babies. I'm like, this did not happen. Are you like, where are you seeing
I
this?
know, but you cannot demonize somebody at that magnitude for that long and not expect someone to do something.
Yeah.
So that's where we need to look at not silencing speech. We need to look at the speech that's being said, and you know what we need? We need people to come up and confront it. It actually needs to be confronted with speech,
Yeah.
like, where are your facts? What are you doing? So that it actually
Oh,
shuts
you
the
know how
rhetoric
that
down.
goes.
I know. I
Well,
know.
that's why we have this. Okay, two last things
All right.
before we won't hold
Yes.
you up. First is
I want to know how to
Winona had
save
a
money.
question. Huh?
This was supposed to be about saving money.
We're gonna do that next, absolutely. But Winona's question is, what's everyone's opinion on the two-shooter theory? Some rally attendees say they also heard shots coming from the water tower, and now it seems as though the water tower doesn't exist, as no one mentions it. I actually heard that earlier today.
I did too, but I don't think there was a second shooter, only
Okay.
because law enforcement did say they didn't have anybody on the water tower, and that's a whole nother thing all in and of itself. Is where's the water tower and why didn't they have anybody on it?
Okay.
But the 8 shots, they have ballistics. They know where these shots came from. They know exactly where they went. By this time, they've got all their little diagrams out, their lasers. I'm sure that that's closed up and buttoned tightly. I don't believe that we're talking about another man on the grass, and no insult or anything towards Winona. I looked at it as well. It doesn't look like it was feasible. But again, I'm patient and old enough to know maybe we should wait and see what comes out.
Yeah, very true. And the last question is, as a sniper, what do you do when you're sleepy
Former.
and you've been there for a long time? And how do you not fall asleep?
Well, first of all, you do every once in a while. That happens. That's why you have a spotter. So these in the movies where it's one guy, that doesn't happen. You have your best friend, your roommate. You guys do everything together. You go to Thanksgiving at his house. He goes to Christmas at your house. You're his best man, and vice versa. So you guys do everything together, including fart on each other and flick the boogers at each other, play horrible games. Marry F kill, which is hours of endless entertainment where you pick 3 women that you would marry.
Yes,
F
we know
or
what it is.
kill.
No, don't do that.
Oh yeah, plenty of time sitting up there. If he's African American, you learn how to play spades, and I got real good at that. Thank you very much, Singleton. I miss you. But you don't go to sleep because it's not just you. You're there for the guys behind you. So I will say this: they pound into you, team before self. So you will fall asleep. Your spotter will make sure that you're there. If you're talking like 36 hours and 72 hours where you're in there and you're not moving, that's a little bit different where you're living in a hide. Most of the common stuff where they're doing it now, they're rotating these guys out. You actually have 2 teams rotating out of a hide, or they're moving. So it's not like you're out in some jungle somewhere digging tiny holes. But yeah, there has been a couple of times where you snore face down and your guy hits you.
Okay. Just curious. That is not a job I could
So,
do. I
yeah.
have a massive respect for you. There you go. I think I'm doing this totally wrong, but
Don't scream like a girl when they wake you up. That's the secret. That gives away the position every time. So,
all right. Awesome.
all right.
Well, we won't hold you up. I know you probably have better things to do and dinner to eat and things like that. But thank you for letting us steal some of your time to answer our questions.
I'm gonna go toss the grandbabies around.
There you go. Yeah, it's not too often that we get to talk to an actual sniper. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, all right. Mwah.
Guys, thank you. Have a good day. Be safe.
Okay. Bye. All right. Let me figure out how to do this. I'm going to learn. Hang on. Remove. So welcome everybody. I didn't get a chance to say anything because we went right into it. Hi, everybody joining us. We appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being here. So yeah, that was Hunter Kyle, infantryman, 10th Mountain Division, scout sniper for HHC 222 Infantry Battalion, and ballistics expert and weapons manufacturer. So I thought it'd be interesting to reach out and have him on and ask his opinion as somebody who's been there and done that, what he thought. So it's nice to see everybody joining us. I saw somebody post that Jack Black fucked around and found out. That is true. That went terribly awry, didn't it? If you haven't been following, which I'm sure you have, the amount of people who have been wishing that bullet connected better was absolutely, it's kind of heartbreaking to me. And I was really disappointed. And I had to do some soul searching this weekend to try and figure out if it had been the other way around, how would I feel? Would I be that way too? And I don't think I'm pretty sure I would not. But I was surprised how many people were just like real nasty about it and real dehumanizing about it. And if you hadn't been keeping up, Jack Black had one of his musicians, it was his birthday, and he passed him the mic and he said, "Hey, happy birthday. What's your birthday wish?" And he's like, I wish next time get it done, basically. And, Jack kind of did one of these. And then next thing you know, they're basically canceled with an apology issued saying he was blindsided by it. But of course that took 2.5 days. So he wasn't blindsided enough by it, I guess. So I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so moving on, Yeah. Moving on. We have a really interesting money saving show for the second half of the show. Um, I'm bringing on Eva, who's going to tell you a little about herself. She's been on here before. So hang on. Let me dig out. I have some let me get my intro. So when I'm doing this myself, Ray, we miss you, we miss you, we miss you, we miss you, we miss you. When we're doing this ourselves, and when I don't have any help, it's hard for me to do this. So hang on. Here we go. Eva is an ordained priestess. She does personalized readings. She is a psychic medium. Let me welcome her on. Hey, Eva. So, and she's also one of my favorite people, and we constantly talk about how to save money. So when I put something up, we've gotten really pretty good at it, and in this economy, it's a thing, right? And if you guys have any special tips, please add them. Please write them in the chat. I want to hear your stuff. Wade Williams says she's a badass. Yes, she is. So, and thanks to everybody who was sending some biddies. I appreciate it. I will shake my titties. I just didn't want to do that earlier. You know, there's a time and a place to do this. So now's the time, and this is the place. So anyway, Eva, thank you for being with us. You know, I
Thank you.
Can't tell you how many times we've gone over to like Costco and shopped and then split everything 50-50 to try and, you know, because I was like, it's like, call that the $200 store. I guess now it's a $400 store. But I put out a call on Facebook asking people for the best money saving tips. And I thought like maybe 10, 15 people would reply. I got 100 replies with some really great stuff.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. So I thought we would go over some of that. I'll have to dig a few things out. But one of my friends reminded me that money doesn't buy you happiness, but it's a lot easier to cry in a Tesla or a Mercedes than on a scooter, you know?
Until you have to repair it.
Yeah. I'll replace that battery. So, and he also reminded me that money is a tool to find peace and security. And where it kind of gets convoluted is when people start putting a lot of faith and emphasis on the actual money itself. So money is, in my opinion, it is a form of energy. So you're using energy to get something. It's an exchange. Right. So what inspired me wanting to do a money saving show was that there was a meme going around. Maybe you guys have seen it. So it was a picture of the United States map, and it had the dollar amount that you need to make in each area in order to live comfortably. And people were really upset because it was a high dollar amount for every place. I mean, just outrageous. So I live in Tampa Bay. It said to live comfortably in Tampa Bay, you have to make $300,000. And of course, I think it was propaganda. Obviously, a lot of these memes are. But I'm looking at it. I'm like, I know very few people making 300,000, but I know a lot of people living comfortably here. And of course, these memes, they're not factoring in what is your debt ratio? Do you have a car payment or not? You know, how many children do you have? Do you have no children? So that's not the whole story. So I thought we could do a show about that. And having grown up, being partially raised by a grandmother who grew up in the Depression era, my DNA is so fucking cheap and stingy. My friends, yeah, Eva can attest to this. So I'm that person that tears off only the amount of the paper towel that I use, or I recycle all the Ziploc bags, and I will reuse. I get the packing. You know, somebody sends me something. There's packing. I pull the packing. I'm like, oh, packing, and I put it aside because I will reuse that packing again when I send something out. So, you know, Grandma,
but it's infectious. It's infectious.
So now I have other people doing it too.
Yeah.
Yes, and Ben, you said it before me. I'm my grandmother was Jewish, and I always say that I come by the Jewish honestly. So the Jew shines through with the guilt and the cheapness. So there you go.
Hey, we'll spread those Jew ideas.
Anyway, we got some great ones. So, you know, how much do you think you need to be happy? And does your job prepare you to retire? You know, like these are things do people actually think about this? And is retirement actually a good idea? Because our bodies wear out as we get older, but once you stop working, you kind of lose your purpose and your social life if you're not careful. So these are things we need to think about. I personally think that we need to revamp the entire uh, working situation because we work too much and don't get enough time off year round. So I think
Right.
that we should be almost mixing our work and our retirement all the time. So
Mm.
you know, we should have a lot more time off to enjoy ourselves, a lot more time to rest. And unfortunately, in the United States, we have a live to work mentality instead of a work to live. So it's
I
it's
agree.
it's not healthy. So
Mm.
Ben Robb says he used to get by on close to 40K, but that's barely above poverty level now. But you could do it, right? I could do it. I did it too. So, you know, I started pulling some of the things that I saw, and I thought I would bring Eva on because she's really good at this too. You told me a story about your sister too, so tell us a little about
Yes.
yourself and tell us some of your favorite your sister's story there.
Well, I mean, just growing up, I'm just like probably any other Gen X you were talking about that, we didn't have much and you learned to be frugal.
Hmm.
Whether it was with the water because there was kids in the house and so forth. So I grew up in a household that two different households actually. One there was only a couple of us kids, and one there was 11.
Mm.
So I got to see both ends of that of how far a dollar must go, and it wasn't much. So everybody ate at everybody else's houses. That was just I think normal for all of us growing up. We drank out of hoses. Um, we were only allowed 10-minute showers if we were lucky, things like that. So those things I think we forgot about as we got older. Me
Mm.
personally, I do at times forget about it, but some people I know that might have Jewish tendencies remind me of,
Or
I
Italian,
should
Italian.
I should be saving that. Yes. So anyway,
Italian is the same thing too.
yeah, it is, and I think a lot of us grew up the same way in the chat here too, and every week talking to everybody. Um, so me personally, I have a day job like most, and my second love is doing metaphysical stuff. So that includes readings and um, mediumship work, and I recently got my priestess diploma, and I'm now officially an officiate. So and non-denominational, however you want to put that. Um, hand ceremonies, rite of passage for children, any of the
Mhm.
above. So anyway, outside of that, I've learned along the way that if I want to do those things, I have to live cheaply to afford classes. So there's that as well. And one of the things that I've learned is my sister. Sister has 4 kids plus 2 grandkids. She's been raising in Pennsylvania for a long time. And she said something to me just not that long ago about recycling some food. And I was, whoa, what's this? So listening to her tell me that she made tacos basically one night and they didn't come out very well. The kids didn't eat it. There was a lot left over. She didn't want the meat to go bad. It was already pre-cooked. So she took it out and she washed it off. She washed the meat off in the sink and made another dish with the meat.
Yeah, she was like two
And
pounds of meat, right? She didn't want to throw it
yeah,
away.
why would you want to? I mean, there's like $10 right there, if not more, depending on what
More
kind of
than
meat you
that. Yeah.
buy. Right. And that doesn't include organic meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that listening to her do that, I was like, that's pretty smart.
Hmm.
You put it back on the table, you don't throw it away. I remember growing up and everybody saying, "Hey, there's kids starving in Africa,"
Oh my
or
God. Yeah.
yeah, that was the big thing that they would tell us. But
Yep.
there's truth to that. I mean, you don't throw things away. So she does a lot of that, and I didn't realize how much until I
Yeah.
asked her now, like, "What are you doing?" She was recycling from a grandkid's birthday party last week, recycling some food that didn't get eaten.
Yeah.
Same thing, turning it into different meals, or taking 5 ingredients that you had left over in the fridge and making something, which I know you have done as
I do.
well, and it
Yeah. I
comes
throw
out
that on a
fantastic.
salad or yeah. I will
Yeah. So
make
why throw that away? Make something out of it. There's no reason why we can't do that. Just you can even pull it up online anytime, 5 ingredients, and put your 5 ingredients in on All
Mhm.
recipes does that. You put your ingredients in and it'll create meals for you. Nowadays we could use AI, so why not?
Yeah, you're playing Chopped.
Yeah.
So I pulled a couple things out. I thought I would share them, and maybe you guys can get something out of this. And by the way, back by popular demand next week is Jimmy G. He will be joining us as our guest and talking about the pineal gland, what it is, how important it is, and how to keep yours in good shape. It's a very important thing that a lot of people don't know about. It's kind of where we get our superpowers from. So make sure you come next week and you know welcome guest Jimmy G. Every time he's on, it's a really good show. So, all right.
Yeah.
So here's one: buy car parts with a lifetime warranty. So, and I'll add to
Uh,
that: buy a used car and pay that fucker off real fast, so that you don't have a car
right.
payment.
I'm
Yep,
gonna
yep.
make a comment about that lifetime warranty though.
Yeah, I know, but you can. A lot of times you can still. A lot of times you go through 7 lifetime warranties, right?
True, true. And it's gotta be honored. Keep those receipts.
Yeah, you
No
have to
matter
keep them.
what they say it's in the computer, not true. Keep those receipts.
Um, join your local Buy Nothing group.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Um, yeah, let's see. A War Demon says, make sure you keep everything out of reach of a young teething dog. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So,
Or children.
yeah, preventative health care. So, health
Mhm.
costs are some of the highest costs we have. So, if you
True.
can do things that are preventative, you can offset a lot of costs. And this goes for taking care of your teeth. So,
Mhm.
on my grandmom's deathbed, I remember her saying, take care of your teeth, take care of your feet.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
teeth are a big deal. Um, let's see. If you are, I'm going to go to that one second. Oh, but by the way, if you have any military family members, and they registered at USAA at any point, and this means your grandparents, your dad, anybody, you can qualify for USAA car insurance and sometimes home insurance as well. So check into that. It is a lot cheaper. Um, use select a size paper towels. And use less toilet paper, use less of everything. A lot of people just, use so much. Be aware of how much you're using and use less. And use things
Yeah.
until they're done. A lot of people will throw away like, 10, 15, 20% of something. They just chuck it. Use it all.
Mhm.
When you're not using it all after a while at the end of the year, that adds up. Um, reuse
True.
things, reuse your Ziplocs, your foil, learn to sew. Um,
Mhm.
I've actually washed the meat off when it's gone off a little bit, and then my dogs
Mhm.
will get it.
Yep.
So if I can't eat it, my pets can. So I'll use that as my dog food. I'll wash the spices off and everything and give it to them, chop it up for them. Um, a lot of phone companies they offer a prepaid phone plan. So I have Verizon. Verizon offers a prepaid, and it's about $35 a month for 10 gigs and with a $2.50 in tax. So I pay $38 a month for what you guys pay $80 a month for. So
Mhm.
you can look into the prepaid.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
When I checked into that, just I know we talked about this.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't do that plan, but there was another option still at Verizon, and that was bundling. I'm not
Hmm.
ever a fan before about bundling, but if you do, most people do streaming services of some sort. And once I added it up, it was saving me about $25 a month going
Hmm.
through Verizon, even on the higher tier plan, just to have the streaming bundles.
Definitely. That's a good one. Thank you. Um, hang on a second. Wade says, add up what you spend on average every day, even if it's $3. $3 times 365 is what you're spending on that item every single year. I found out I was spending almost $500 a month on Wendy's at one point, just eating out every day. Yeah, that's $10 a day, right? If you eat out 5 days a week, that's $50 a month, $50 a week, and $200 a wait, 50, yeah, sorry, $200 a month at $10 a day. I can hear your birds; they are happy.
Sorry.
So, um, let's see what else we got here. Ben Rob says to get a bidet. So yeah, I know it sounds like Doolittle over here between the dog and the birds.
I have the door shut. Sorry, it must be
Oh,
screaming something.
okay.
And
Check on them.
that's okay. I'm good.
Okay.
Um,
So the Amazon Prime lets you share with one other adult, so
Mhm.
you can split with them, and of course you can combo while you're streaming too. They'll usually let you, you know, share accounts with others. So if you have you and 3 friends, do a Netflix and a this and a that, you can kind of combo stream.
right.
So let's see. Let Walmart shop for you. Pick it up. Save yourself an hour.
hmm
So do it
And the
online.
fees for delivery. Save those delivery fees.
Yeah, there's no delivery fee. So
Right.
additionally, you're not going in and going, oh, look at that, and shoving it in your cart. You're just getting exactly what you want, exactly what you need. Let's see. Do as much of your own skincare and nails and mani-pedis. Do all that yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Try to.
So you got any? Ask your bird what they think.
I'm
Sounds like
sorry. I'm
they.
going to guess there's a cat out there or something because that's the only time he screams like that. Sorry. If it's that loud, I'll go shut
Yeah,
the
we can
curtains.
mute you.
let me just go
Loud.
shut
It's
the
pretty
curtains.
loud. Yeah.
All right. My apologies. I'll be right back.
It's okay. Oh, good Lord. That's what she lives with. That's some patience and tolerance right there, huh? Yeah, learn to cook. That's a big deal, is learning to cook. Don't go out to eat. It is expensive, and half the time it's really disappointing if you know how to cook. Lori says they're cutting down on sharing accounts on Netflix. So no, just don't get caught, right?
Right. I have a couple to add too when you're caught up there.
Go ahead.
Gas. There's
Oh
everybody
yeah.
thinks, yeah, there's no cheap way to get gas or no discounts. That's wrong. I know some people don't like apps on their phones, but sometimes it pays. The Upside app,
Mhm.
which pays you back for going to a specific gas station that you choose that's near you. Sometimes it's 10 cents a gallon, 5 cents a gallon. That adds up. You can turn that into an Amazon gift card, money back in your bank account. Sometimes I'll save $20 or $30 a month using that type of program. There's Gas Buddy, connects to your banking account, and they actually send you their own card. If you go to one of their gas stations, you get instant, sometimes 10, 20, 30 cents off a gallon. I think I was mentioning about Wawa as well. Wawa, if you use their rewards, if you have one, and maybe a gas station that's near you, that if you don't have Wawa, but you can put money on the rewards card on the app, and they add the points up, and they also deduct at the same time. Sometimes I've had 30 cents off a gallon at the pump. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Lottery
stop
tickets.
buying lottery tickets. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's a big one.
So gas, we all complain about gas, but there's a couple.
And Ben Rob adds to yours that Circle K has a card tied to your debit card that saves 10 cents a gallon all day.
7-Eleven. Put your phone number in, 5 cents off a gallon every time.
Yeah. What's up, Colin? Hi. Colin's in a class tonight, so I asked him to join me as well.
Nice.
So you guys, if you have to buy dog pet medication, you can go on to Canadian Pharmacy. I'll see if I can find that link for you guys, or I'll put it on Facebook. But there's a Canadian Pharmacy, and you can get your dog, like your heart guard and all that stuff, and it is way cheaper.
Also, try your local pharmacy instead of Publix, Walgreens, CVS.
Yeah. Yep. And sometimes you can find coupons too. Coins add up. A lot of people will take the coins and the ones and throw them into a jar, and by the end of the year, they have enough for a vacation. So don't charge what you can pay off. 18 to 25% interest rate adds up fast. And when you go out, ration what you're spending and use cash. Take cash with you.
I was refused to pay cash today.
You can't be refused to pay cash. It says legal tender right there.
I had an argument with them about that at the doctor's office today. We do
Why?
not accept cash. That's what she said. And I said, well, I guess I can't pay you today. It's the only thing I have. You
What
have
do they
to take
say?
it. We'll bill you. I said, so I still have cash.
And then
I said that on purpose.
I'll mail you cash. Yeah, they can't refuse. It is legal tender.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
just
right.
so you guys know, they cannot refuse to take your cash. So it says right on the dollar bill, this you have to take it. So let's take a look at some of the ones that they sent on Facebook here. And some of them are going to be repeats because they're coming from different people, but thrift stores. Okay, I've turned into a thrifting fanatic. I don't know what happened. But there is some good stuff there. It brings out the hunter-gatherer in me, I think. It's like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Oh my God, look over there. So it's something. So yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, Deanna says cook good food at home, reuse everything, jars, bags, packing supplies, clothes from consignment, reduce streaming subscriptions, have fun at parks and libraries, look for free programs, download Libby at your local library's borrowing app. You can borrow digital books and audiobooks for free. I did not know that.
I forgot about that.
Borrow books at the library. Okay, did not know about the Libby. Darren says you can get the same self-service with an alternative carrier. For those who utilize the big name companies networks, they have the same plans for far less money if you look at the alternatives. Did not know that either. Let's see. Bill says look for happy hour specials when eating out. I would just say skip eating out if you can. Grocery stores stock up on things when they're on sale. Use coupons and bonus cards. We know that. Auto repair, bring in coupons from competitors and ask them to match it. Some of them will do that. And also don't pay for what you can do yourself. And that includes changing your own cabin filters or air filters, cleaning your own pool, trimming your own, yard, that type of thing. Bonsu says unplug chargers or turn off power strips when not in use. There is such a thing as vampire electricity use. Shut the lights when you leave the room. I think this is just an American thing. I've never seen it anywhere else, but people leave the rooms and don't shut the lights. And it's like, what are you doing?
Such a waste.
I don't understand it. So
I don't know.
Turn up the AC a couple of degrees, especially when you leave the house. Oh yeah, definitely. Install weather stripping on the windows and doors. Don't make immediate online purchases. Put things in your cart or basket to save for later and decide if you really want them. Plus, sometimes they'll send you like a 10 or 20% off coupon if you haven't bought them. Right. Don't buy more fresh fruits or vegetables than you can really eat. Make a list before going to the grocery store and stick to it. Take good care of the stuff you own so it lasts longer. Do your own nails, mow your own lawn. And turn things off when you're not using them, like the TVs. Drink water before eating. You'll likely consume less volume of food.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a model trick. We would drink a cup of coffee before ordering food or having dinner. So, nice. Yeah, my friend Renee says always check to see if there's any military discounts. Obviously, once you get past a certain age, you get discounts too. But shop tax-free weekends. Now, these are all normal, common things. But Bob says buy bulk meat with a friend and learn a tiny bit about cutting meat and get a deep freezer. And somebody said that they bought half a cow once and it was totally worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Buying cheaper products often costs you more. So if you spend more for good things, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually a real thing. Like buy good shoes, buy good, electronics, buy classic clothing. And if you spend the money, it will last you, forever, years and years and years, instead of buying a replacement every year or two. And same thing goes with your house. If you're fixing things in your house, spend and get it done right.
I agree.
High yield savings accounts. Someone said, I wish I knew about them much earlier than I did. I will agree with that. And a lot of online banks offer very high yield savings accounts. So your money can just sit there and make money. Let's see. Samantha says, I don't buy paper towels too often. I only use them for cleaning. So she cuts up old rags and uses them. She says she went to Walmart and bought actual cotton napkins, which she uses and just washes them. People think that she's fancy, but she's not. She just finds it much cheaper. Also, she maintains her cars. She drives them for 20 years. I follow the maintenance schedule to a T. She buys $200 shoes and repairs them herself. If she can't do it, she takes it to her local Italian cobbler. I also have them repair my leather purses. I stay away from plastic fake leather. I only buy shoes that can be repaired. I have shoes that have lasted me 25 years. I'll buy cheap shoes and clothes for shoots, but I only wear them. I only do that for my business account. I don't wear them day to day. I do not use my line of credit for big purchases, but I pay off the principal ASAP. I try to live 100% debt free, but sometimes that cannot be avoided. So a lot of people have also suggested paying a little on your mortgage and your credit card every single day, even if it's just $1. So pay $1 every day on your mortgage or your credit card. And that is, I forget what it's called. I'm blanking right now. Something interest, compound interest. It keeps your compound interest in check.
Have you had a chance to try that?
I've been doing it for years. So, but
Nice.
yeah, I appreciate them not compounding that interest on me. Versace Stoner says pay your subscriptions for the year if you can. Breaking it up is usually cheaper, but the companies will tack on extra fees. So if you can do everything up front, it's a lot more beneficial. Bill says he makes his own dog food and he can get 3 meals out of one whole chicken dinner. So I think you probably get more than that if you chicken, rice, and veggies and things like that. So he's got Chihuahua. So he does proteins of choice, rice, eggs, blueberries or strawberries, a can of pumpkin, carrots or green beans or mixed veggies, and that's his recipe. I've seen people put in I've seen them do the raw eggs and the different Greek yogurt and things like that too. I'm going to add in, do classic Yule, friends, family making gifts instead of corporate style Christmas and going into debt. So I'm just reading things. Wade Williams saying hunt. Yeah. Ben Robb says rotate your tires every 3 to 5 miles, 3 to 5,000 miles. Make sure it's aligned properly. Hi, Fred. Thanks for joining us. Canada Spaceman. Drink something or drink some pickle juice if you're dehydrated. It helps. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else you guys are adding in here. Canada Spaceman, you missed an interesting first half of the show. You're gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
There's also income-based discounts too that your utilities a lot of times will give you. Yeah. Also, because of your age, if you just call and ask, but if you don't ask, they don't just give it to you. Same thing. All your phone services, your Wi-Fi, all the above.
Yeah, and I don't know if people know this, but in some states, including North Carolina, Florida, and several others, if you are making under a certain amount and you're over 65, you can stop paying property taxes on your home. Now, they're not going to just let you stop. You have to apply for that program. But if you are approved for it, no more property taxes for you. So be aware of that. So
and most utilities have some similar programs.
Yep.
There's also too that age discount. Take advantage of it, whether it's 50, 55, 65, whatever you are.
Yep.
Use it.
Yep. Yeah, be aware. Winona had said she repurposes items from thrift stores and makes gifts. And she showed me a really cool picture of a cross that she did. It's beautiful. I saw
She does
something.
beautiful things.
I know. I saw somebody posting a bunch of pop art from repurposed thrift store art. Like it looked like hotel room art, like stupid,
Mhm.
lame art. But then they turned around, like put Cartman in the middle of it or mermaids in the middle of it, or it was super
Mhm.
awesome, superheroes in the middle of it, and they did a really good job.
Look at that one piece I got, that glass piece.
Oh my God,
That
I know.
out of repurposed glass. I love
Yep,
that.
yep, yep. Heather says she uses apps like Fed Ibotta to scan receipts, and she gets cash back and gift cards. Um, Robbie says he flips couch cushions for coins. A lot of people said that they do a lot of coins. There's a lot of coin things in here.
Yeah.
I'd say meal prep, and I also suggest using meal companies. So if you can find one that works with you, especially if you're solo, something like a HelloFresh or a variant of that, doesn't have to be HelloFresh, but
Mhm.
3 meals a week for 2 people, that's 6 meals. If you can keep
Right.
that to $50, you're getting, you know, basically you're getting 6 meals for 50, $60, and they're usually on the higher end. It's very clean eating, and it's also a cooking class. So,
Right. And then you could
it's
teach others.
mhm, yeah,
There's the other thing too, is, and you mentioned meal prep, but don't forget to go through your freezer once in a while and see what you have that you didn't eat that you bought a couple months ago,
yep,
or your leftovers you put in there. Bring them back out. Put it on the menu for this week. Write a menu for the week. At least you have
yeah,
an idea of what you're going to cook when you get home, and you don't think on the fly coming home from work one day and pick up that burger you shouldn't have.
yeah. Lacey says to shop at Aldi's as much as possible.
Oh yeah, love all
I
these.
agree. Charles says tools. Think about what you really use and how often. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy a really good one rather than just a cheap one. He said he was running a shop repairing aircraft tires, and the sockets were really cheap. When you have to tighten and loosen roughly 2 dozen nuts per wheel, and with a torque value of 780 inch per pound, we go through 2 or 3 a day. So that's what we said
Mm,
about spending the money. Yeah.
yes.
John Enright says if you're making payments on something, set aside an extra $100 a month that you send in on a separate check that says for principal only. It will knock down your
Right.
total and help end your payments faster.
Right on.
Grocery shop based on coupons, not once. So if you need something, see if there's a
Hmm.
coupon for it. I also think there's a big thing with us understanding the difference between want and need. You really have to
Yeah.
think about that. Do you want this or do you need this? So
Eh, And once in a while, it is nice to buy yourself something or get something extra, but at least if you can either use that for something else or repurpose it, whether it's food you buy
mhm,
or can't repurpose ice cream, but once in a while it's nice to have. I understand that.
mhm, yeah.
Uh, food
Um,
food co-ops.
yes. Yes. Yeah, food co-ops, and they also have like community farms.
Right.
So you can start growing your own food too. So
Yeah.
trading,
And
there's a
then
lot of stuff there. Yep. Let's see. I'm reading some more of these. Don't charge what you can't pay off at the end of the month. Mm,
sure.
Try not to. Sometimes accidents happen. Peter says don't eat out too much. If you live alone or with a partner, cook in bulk. For example, I cook a
Mhm.
fresh spaghetti bolognese. I don't even say it. I don't eat it, so
Ooh.
I'm not sure if it's in it. For 10
Ooh.
people, eat what you can for 2
Wow.
or 3 days, then freeze the rest in portions. Then
I
cook
do
another
that.
dish,
Mhm.
for example, a chicken curry, the same way. Then another dish. At the end of the month or 6 weeks later, you have a freezer full of different foods, which means you don't have to go main food shopping for a couple of weeks. So I
Yep.
like that one. That's a good one.
Even when you're by yourself, make enough for 2 or 3 people. Even uh,
Yeah.
not the healthiest thing in the world, but lasagna. You can still make that, freeze
Yeah.
it, and do it in bulk.
Yeah. Rory says menu plan for the full week or even 2. Buying larger cuts of meat and our bigger packages of perishables saves dollars and generates less food waste. So buying a pound of carrots for 1 or 2 meals and the rest going bad in your fridge while you buy it, versus buying 3 pounds for only 50% more, and they get used up in less than a week because you had it planned. So, or buy a package of pork chops for $17 for tonight's dinner versus buying a pork loin for $22, break it down yourself, and then get three meals out of it. So,
True.
Josh
You know,
said this. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say frozen vegetables and frozen fruit. I wasn't a fan of, but I am now.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
waste a lot less.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And compost.
Yeah.
And you can compost a lot of whatever you're wasting if you don't have chickens. They are
hmm
living composters, though. I just learned today you can add a few drops of water to your lotion to get the shake it up, get the rest of your lotion out of the bottle. You can use a few drops of what do you call it? Nail polish remover to thin your nail polish, and you can obviously put a little bit of water in your washing liquid. When you're done with your detergent, you can get a little bit more out of it too. Josh says he tries to keep the windows and blinds open and use ambient light as much as possible. I'm opposite because I live in Florida. It's hot. I pull the windows and blinds as much as possible to keep it cooler. So it depends on where you live. Sal says he puts $5 a day away for every day for a year.
Wow.
Roy says he pays his car insurance for a full year using his tax refund. He can save 40 to 50% doing it that way. Can you?
That's
really?
great. I didn't think it was that much, but
I didn't
that's going to
either.
make me look at it now.
I know. Alexis says she gets paid bi-weekly. Most of us do. For the second week until the paycheck comes in. Let's see. Both hubby and I packed lunches and snacks for the day. This has helped us with saving $100 during this week. Lunch cost is $8 to $15 a day, sometimes more. It adds up real fast. I'm a big fan of just doing that all the time. Not only is it's not only just cheaper, but the food is better. Like
Can you imagine every time you went to a one of the cons that you bought out all the food there?
Oh my God. Yeah, you'd just be spending all the money that you made.
Right.
Let's see. Michelle says, with regards to computers, apps, storage space, subscriptions, etc., interest on credit cards, never carry a balance if you can. Okay, a lot of people are repeating things. Perthim says, I've noticed in America that people don't turn off the lights if you leave the room. Don't leave lights on during the day. Sell stuff you don't use anymore, or don't just throw it out. Fix things. Don't just replace it. So,
is anybody on here, I wonder, have kids that could answer the question about a home ec anymore in schools?
Yeah, I don't think it's there.
Where they
anymore,
teach you
is
to
it?
sew and cook and
fix things. Shop class too.
Shop class, yeah.
We had metal, wood, and leather shop. I loved it. Made keychains and all kinds of stuff. That's what Leonard said. Leonard says, well, the one problem is people can't do much of their own work anymore. People can't even sharpen a mower blade, let alone fix anything. When you pay for everything, it's because you're either lazy or you have no skills, and it's next to impossible to save. So you better make it up with your income or you're screwed.
I just looked over at the screen and saw what Ben Robb wrote. I shake kids down on the playground for milk money.
Oh, man, that's funny.
It's kind of stuff you do when you're a kid.
Yep. No, nothing wrong with that. Shake those fuckers down.
War demon, don't waste your time with one of those claw machines when you go into a restaurant or the stuffed animals and stuff. You can spend a lot of money on those.
I know. Alex is saying we need to bring those classes back. We do. We also need like a life class. Like if you have English and math and history all throughout school. We need like life all throughout school. Just learn all kinds of things. Like, I don't know, how to buy a house and just everything. How to fix things. Yeah.
Like we were talking about before about working. Do they really teach people how to work in this world now? Yeah.
Michael says when you go to the conventions, pack your food and drinks before in a cooler. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny what we learned in school regarding careers and work. Those jobs don't exist anymore.
That's true.
You really have to become adaptable. And with AI,
you got me. I'm glad I'm not growing up at this time. Yeah,
It's confusing.
it
Yeah,
is.
honestly, yeah. So,
Mm.
Canada Spaceman said, I liked home economics. We got to make pizza. I learned how to sew, as my mom would not let me touch the sewing machine at home anyways. LOL. Right? You know what I made?
Hmm.
I remember making, we could pick any pattern we wanted, and we made stuffed animals. So
Oh, nice.
I made a blue and white soccer ball, and I remember I sewed it, and we cut out each piece and sewed
Uh-huh.
it together, and then at the end you put the stuffing in and sewed it, and it was
I remember
amazing. I was
making
like, oh my
pillows.
god,
Yeah.
yeah, yep,
Stuffed animal, that would have been better.
yeah. Um, yeah, Wade says trade schools. Yeah, we pushed all this college, but honestly, a trade school would be the better option.
Where I live, north of Tampa, there is some trade schools here,
Hmm.
and you can choose high school or trade school in some areas now.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, Winona says if you bought a perfume you don't like, use it in a homemade candle. That's true. Unless it's not
mm,
very alcohol based, sometimes it'll evaporate. And by the way, as a candle maker, I can tell you, if you have a candle that doesn't light anymore, or if it's down to, you have extra wax at the bottom, you can scrape that out and put it on your melt warmer, and you can
oh, I've
still get
done
the,
that.
yeah, get the rest,
Yeah.
get every dollar you've paid for with that.
Oh, wait, don't forget your candles. You don't want to ever waste a piece of your candles. I'd scrape them jars right out and
Yep.
stick it in a melt
And then reuse the
warmer.
jars.
Yep.
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 Absolutely.
Lori is saying they do not have home ec in Florida. Her grandkids don't have any of this classes, nothing on finance either. So,
That's
and
horrible.
they need to teach kids about budgets and debt along with the debt ratio. They don't want to do that because they want to keep you in debt. So,
I bet you they're teaching about big pharma though.
why do you think
Sorry,
they get, yeah,
I had to throw that in.
why do you think they go to college campuses and start pushing credit cards with high interest right away?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, those are some of the things we got. Um,
Great.
yeah, and Laura says my son went to a trade school but ended up in a very different field being self-taught. And that's a common thing. I don't know if I agree with people going to college straight out of high school, because the
Right.
decision-making part of your brain is not formed until you're 25. This is why I don't agree
Hmm.
with transitioning children. Do whatever once you're an adult, but I don't agree
Right.
with certain things when you're at a certain age. And when it comes to drastic changes or spending tons of money like college, I think people
Hmm.
should wait, because you don't really know what you want to do a lot of times. There's a
There
small amount that do, but most people don't end up doing what they went to college for.
there is some small programs out there, and I know in this area there might be. So I imagine there is elsewhere that,
Hmm.
let's say you want to change jobs. You're doing a position that was canceled. I'm sorry, I say canceled, but anyway, your job isn't there anymore.
Yeah,
So if you're a hands-on
obliterated. It was
person,
made redundant.
there
It
you
was
go.
made redundant.
Right. There's always going to be people that are needed to fix cars, to air conditioning units in your house, plumbers, things like that.
Yeah,
The trade schools also will
morticians.
retrain. Yeah, morticians. You got to know how to do that makeup on a body.
God,
Um, yeah, the
cremators.
trade schools also do it for adults for retraining, and a lot of times you can work in the field as you're training as an apprentice and then come out full-fledged when you're done, and you don't have to pay a whole bunch, and a lot of times the future employer pays for you to go.
Yeah,
So you can retrain in a different trade, and there's a lot of these. If you check with your local like career source or something like that, you can usually find out about those programs.
yeah. I'll throw out a couple of things that I personally do. Um, I do my own skincare. Like if I do a skin peel, I actually go to like skinpeel.com and I buy the acid, and I'll do that myself instead of
Mm,
going and spending $150 and having somebody do it. I learned how to do all that stuff myself. I know
that's good.
Angel Williams, Angelina, she does the same thing.
Mm.
I have an espresso. I spent the money on it so that I can avoid Starbucks. I love a great cappuccino, and it doesn't get any better than an espresso.
Mhm.
Let's see. You can get a pharma discount card. You can buy overseas. You can look online at Naps Gear. They have a lot of supplements. They have a lot of prescription medications you can buy direct from India. A lot of Americans don't know how to do this, but it is possible. You can buy directly from Canada and use Canadian pharmacies as well, not just for our pets, but also for us. You can host dinner parties, barbecues, game nights, movie nights, crafting nights. I do that instead of going out. I just have everybody come over, bring stuff, bring some food, bring your drinks. Let's do something fun. You can, hosting and having people over is a good time. You can also have get things done days where you have everybody come over and you need to organize your garage, or you need to work on your yard and get some yard work done. Invite everybody over, provide some whatever and get it done. So that really helps. Call and help, do it together.
Yes.
There are community gardens and co-ops that I had written that down. My rec center has a bunch of classes there, and the yoga there is anywhere between $4 and $7 versus $20 at a yoga studio. So
That's nice.
Yeah, so check your rec centers and check on like meetup.com and local parks, because a lot of them do like fitness in the park, and sometimes it's like $5, $10 to do a class.
Can I throw a little thing in there?
Yeah.
If you're a person that doesn't like to get online and do those things, you can actually call usually your local civic clubs, recreation outfits and stuff, and find out what they offer, or check the newspaper or local listings.
Kind of Space Hand says, save money, invite yourself over to your neighbor's place, then eat their food, drink their booze while they are stunned and asking who you are. You can do that.
A lot of people probably do that. It's like the milk ban.
Yeah, I think I covered, let's see, upcycle, crafting, repurpose, make your own gifts. You know what I learned today? I'll leave you with this one. I think I learned that you can make your own fire logs out of used coffee grounds and old newspapers. Yeah. So I am going to be trying that. So all you have to do is search online, and there's multiple ways to use old coffee grounds and make them into long burning logs, fire logs, which are expensive. You're talking $20 for 6. So now if you take your old coffee grounds, put them into a bucket, throw them in a fridge so they don't get moldy. And then when you're ready, dry them out, mix them with some kind of a sticking agent, like a little bit of wax or a little bit of oil. And then you can also put some wet newspaper in with that if you want. Mix that all together, put it in some type of a loaf pan and let it dry out. So,
or you can tell us about it,
or you can bake it, one or the other, for a half hour, and now you've got logs. You've got fire logs. So
that's fantastic idea.
Yeah, I mean, I use a lot of coffee. So
and apparently the newspaper.
Logs, yeah, you wet newspaper, and I just So I want to try that. It's probably gonna be a disaster the first time, just like my candles were, but we'll figure it out and perfect it. So anyway, so yeah, those are some ideas. I think obviously you guys buy used, rent when you can, and buy quality when it's important.
Yep.
So,
and sometimes just borrow. Ask somebody if you just need a tool for one thing to do in the yard. Why not ask your neighbor? Ask your family. Can I borrow that, and I'll get it back to you next weekend? Yeah,
just make sure you get it back.
There's always that.
Don't be that person.
Wait, what would? Don't be that dick.
My grandfather. Oh my God, my grandfather held a grudge for like 40 years because Johnny Fratrick, that down the street, borrowed his fishing pole and never gave it back.
Hey, there's always family. Sure? My grandfather used to complain about his sister borrowing his records and never giving them back.
Yeah.
And he was upset. He's like, I'm not buying them. I'm going to go get them. And I don't remember him ever doing that, going and getting them back.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Anyway, so there are some tips, and if somebody wanted to get a psychic reading from you, or have you officiate their pagan wedding or their hand fasting, how would they go about doing that?
They can either reach out to me on send me an email, eva.readings@gmail. You can also, I have a phone number available, 727-207-5177. Please leave a message. And that's really easy. You can always reach out to me. I'm always here. You can find me on the A Show and all comments and stuff too. Eva D
Okay.
Spirit, I think I'm on there.
All right.
So you can always ask April too.
All right. Awesome. That's awesome. So thank you for
Thank you.
keeping me company tonight. I did this,
Absolutely.
by myself last week, and I thought it'd be fun to have some company this week. So thanks to everybody who is on here tonight. Thank you to both Hunter and Eva for being on here with me. Hopefully everybody kind of learned some stuff tonight and we entertained you. So is she a guest chat roomer? Yeah. She's on here. Yep. That's her, Eva D Spirit. So
Eva D Spirit, that's me.
Yeah, she's one of the originals. So yep. So thanks to everybody for sticking with us for the last 90 minutes. We will see you. It's so much more fun when we're on Tuesday nights. We will see you next week. Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And next week we have a very special guest. We're going to have back by popular request, Jimmy G, talking about the pineal gland and how important it is. And War Demon has included a Discord. He started a Discord for us. If you guys want to go over, it's in the chat right there. Go over and add yourself. I guess I'll go over and I think I'm supposed to go over and say hi. So I'm going to try that next. Hopefully I have more success than when I was starting this show tonight because I could not get on live. So thanks for being patient. And Steve from Indy, one of my favorite photographers. What's up, Steve?
Hi.
I know, lots of love. So I will talk to you guys next week. And I hope you.
Where do they find you?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Don't forget.
Thank you. Doing this myself, man. Ray puts all this together, and I miss you, Ray. Miss you, man. You can find me at Patreon, April Hunter, on Instagram at Real April Hunter, Twitter at April Hunter, and there was something else.
YouTube.
YouTube, April Hunter. Yes, thank you.
Don't forget to like on everything.
And also aprilhunter.com. So yes, if you will like on this and subscribe and spread the show around, I would be deeply grateful. We're trying to get everything out there. So thank you. Yeah, Ray will be back next week too. He had a wonderful vacation in the middle of nowhere, hopefully, where he had plenty of relations with his wife and cocktails, fizzy, girly cocktails. And he'll be back next week. So anyway, love you guys. And thank you for being here. And I'm not going to play the music. You guys can just sing. Who's singing? Thank you and good night and thanks for the fish. All right. Mwah. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.
Thank you.